Up until this point, we spent the entirety of the LEGO Minecraft series building out a vast, blocky world complete with all sorts of different biomes, structures, and caves to be explored. But if you've ever played Minecraft before, I think you'll know that something crucial here is missing. You know, a base of operations. A home. Custom LEGO bases have been some of my favorite LEGO Minecraft mocks to see, and I'm excited to finally give my own a shot. This particular module has been delayed and changed countless times at this point, but I can finally say we've got all the pieces and I've got a plan to actually make it happen. I hope you're as excited as I am for this module, so let's get to building. I've worked on laying the groundwork for this structure in some previous episodes. The wool farm actually will serve as an expansion to the player base, and the larger structure will end up overlapping with that module a bit too. In the Herobrine Shrine, I added a few transition modules around the mountain area, and one of those is going to be absolutely crucial for providing access into the home that'll be built at the top of this plateau. But most of the structure is going to be built atop a brand new 32 by 32 stud module that will bridge the gap between the Dark Oak Forest and the mountain. Because of the extreme height of both of the neighboring modules, there's going to be a lot of terrain to build up before we can even think about starting on the house. The mountain is especially going to prove challenging as we want to smooth out this transition as nicely as possible. I've got some ideas, but it's definitely going to take a lot, and I mean a lot, of pieces. Thankfully, LEGO was able to send over a bunch of parts to assist in the making of this module through a collaboration between the LEGO Ambassador Network and LEGO's Pick-a-Brick service. If you're unfamiliar with LEGO Pick-a-Brick, it's a section of the website that allows you to purchase brand new individual parts directly from LEGO in Denmark. While I purchase a lot of elements off Bricklink, Pick-a-Brick almost always has 2x2 tiles, and a lot of the newer elements in LEGO's portfolio listed at far lower prices than most Bricklink stores. It's well worth taking a look at, especially if you're interested in tiling off your Minecraft mocks like I do. So sincerely, a big thank you to LEGO for sending over the extra elements. It's really going to help make this module something special. Back at the build, the terrain is coming together quite nicely. I'm leaving a big rectangular open bit here to make a basement for the player base. It'll be accessible through a door at the back of the house. I'll bring in the stairway transition module to help line up all the terrain on this side. I definitely need to make sure all the wonky colors on the side of the mountain get covered up. The back part of our new module will actually form a second mountain, helping the biome feel more like a range rather than just a singular peak. While it's nowhere near as large as the original, this mountain still took way more parts to build than I expected. It's virtually impossible to keep basic reddish brown and dark bluish gray bricks stocked at this point. I really like how this smaller mountain has turned out. It does a great job of filling out this extra space here. And better yet, I suppose this gives us more room to add even more goats in the future. I mean, you gotta love that. On the other side of the module, I'll bring in one of my all-time favorite builds to help match up the terrain over there. The Dark Oak Forest is also deceptively tall, but it makes for a less dramatic transition than the mountain gave us on the other side. There's only a sliver of space between the base and the chunk border, so this will be a nice and quick terrain build. For the most part, the sides are going to be completely covered by the adjacent modules anyway. With all the terrain completed for our new module, I'll remove the neighboring builds once again to provide easy access to every part of the player base chunk. I'm especially fond of how the back of this module is coming together. The new smaller mountain looks really nice, and there's just great terrain variety happening all across this build. There's one thing that'll make it even better yet though, some sweet, sweet tiling. In addition to being the player base module, of course, this section of the display also has the task of transitioning between a lot of different biomes, and I think it does so here pretty elegantly. We've got the 3 different grass colors here too, sand green representing the mountain biome, green for the plains, and then dark green for the dark oak forest. I'm going to go a little lighter on the grass stalks this time around so as to provide a cleaner and easier path to the back of the house, which we'll be building here in just a moment. We're going to start the construction of the base with the basement floor. I'm using sideways masonry bricks here to represent good old oak planks, and I've left some exposed studs to deck this place out in some useful furniture. I've always wanted the player base to showcase some of the best LEGO elements that have been made for the Minecraft theme over the years, and one of the coolest perhaps is the enchanting table. Despite being such a core part of Minecraft gameplay, the enchanting table has only appeared in one set, the ice spikes from 2017. I really hope it does show up again. The walls of the basement will be made out of cobblestone, and I'll be using the same tried and true technique that you've seen throughout the series so far in things like the Jungle Temple and Plains Village. For variety's sake though, I'll also be adding in a brick fireplace. Brick is a tough color to represent in LEGO. Dark red is too dark, and sand red is too pale. I ended up going with dark red though because there's a lot more variety of parts to work with, including masonry bricks, which of course work rather perfectly in this function. I've tried to mellow out the color a bit too with some light bluish gray speckles. On the floor, I've also left room for a half plate raised carpet. With the walls being so gray, I really want to make sure that the rest of the room is filled with color. Banners are going to be another great way to add some vibrance in here, and LEGO has given us plenty of unique designs over the years to work with. The first player to inhabit this house will be Hex, from the Minecraft Dungeons Redstone battle set. He's accompanied by his trusty pup as he does some enchanting here in the basement. On the outside, here's that little entrance I was talking about. I'll give it a little bit of cover with an acacia plank stair roof. Next is the second floor, where I've spiced things up a bit by adding some different levels on the same floor. This will help differentiate the areas as separate rooms without having a thick wall between them, which would use up valuable and usable space. The upper area is going to serve as a bedroom, complete with a crafting table, furnace, and some pottery decoration. And then the lower area will have a bunch of blast furnaces, the relatively new smithing table, and an anvil as well. If LEGO continues to make other cool profession blocks like a cartography table or a fletching table, I'd love to add those in here too. Next, we'll be building up the walls of this floor. You'll recognize this aesthetic from the wool farm as well, which uses the same color palette and design. The theme of the player base is very much inspired by the Hypixel Minecraft server's main lobby. I don't talk about it here a whole lot, but I've actually worked at Hypixel for the past 11 years as a builder. Of all the projects I've helped develop, one of my favorite contributions will always be the main lobbies. Back then, I had no idea how iconic my orange roof design would become. They remain a symbol of the server even today, and they even got featured in Mojang's World of Minecraft book last year, which is really cool. It just felt right to bring that here into the LEGO Minecraft world too. Also, I'm just really familiar with building this style of house at this point. Oh, but that did not mean converting it into LEGO was easy. Block accurate stairs and slabs are notoriously tricky, and this build tested me like never before. Never have I ever had to do so much LEGO math, especially for the corner stairs that you'll find in the roof. There are pretty much bricks and studs facing in every possible direction, but somehow everything ended up coming together and it manages to be pretty strong at the same time. If we spin things around though, I think you'll see that we do have a bit of a problem. Our house has no front. That's because the player base overlaps with the two other modules that we talked about earlier, the wool farm and the staircase transition module. Let's bring those back in and make a few modifications. I've built these two foundation assemblies to put on the flat portions of each module. You'll notice that they're completely tiled off. Originally, I was just going to build up on top of them, but I had a rather crazy idea I wanted to try out. On the side of the fireplace, I've installed some clips. It's my intention to actually have the whole front of the house swing open so that the interior can be easily accessed. Here's the hinged section of the build, or in its current state, should I say, unhinged. It uses the same crazy techniques as the rest of the building, and hopefully will be strong enough to hold together when it swings open. I've even done my best to clean it up on the inside as well. It leaves some extra room for some more interior details if we ever want to add those. If I've mapped this all out correctly, the front section should clip smoothly into place on the chimney. And ta-da! Would you look at that? That's actually pretty cool. Seeing this structure come together just as I envisioned is a dream come true. This was a challenging build through and through, but the results is incredibly rewarding. I always wanted this player base to be the heart and soul of the world, and I think its vibrant colors and position here on the mountainside really allows it to shine. It's time to get this added into the rest of the display. Things are really coming together now, and this module especially does a nice job of hiding the remaining 2 gaps in the surface behind it. One thing I've really been wanting to add here are some phantoms chasing around a poor sleep-deprived player. I originally made a tutorial for these guys way back in 2022, and I've been waiting for this specific module to get them added into the display. If you don't have the pieces to make one of these for yourself, my mom is selling a bunch of the custom phantoms on her Bricklink store for you to purchase, along with some of the other cool custom mobs that we've featured in the series before. But who should these phantoms be chasing? Surprisingly, there's actually not too many player skins left to add at this point. Well, at least until, LEGO gives us a bunch of new ones in the summer wave of sets. But let's go with another Minecraft dungeon skin, Hal. The least I can do is give poor Hal here some armor. Thankfully, loyal viewer Mason generously sent over this red package absolutely filled with LEGO Minecraft goodies, including the elusive leather armor, which remains exclusive to 2017's Jungle Temple set. Mason also added the extremely rare clock element in the package, so hopefully giving this to Hal will remind him how important it is to sleep at night. Check out all this other cool stuff though. Let me know if you have any ideas on where you'd like to see some of these pieces and mobs added into the display. Thank you so much, Mason. This was such a delight to get in the P.O. box. But, that's about gonna do it for today's episode. Thank you, as always, for tuning in, and I really hope you enjoyed my take on the player base. With the completion of this module, there are only 2 surface gaps left to fill, and one of those gaps is already going to be filled with next month's episode, the Old Growth Taiga. If you thought the mangrove trees or the cherry blossom grove trees were big, just wait until you see these. Until then though, I hope you have yourself a great life.